Indian in a community of white people is no easy feat. When you have white friends, go to white schools, and are surrounded by white people, it's hard to represent your culture. I'm different from my peers in so many ways, my name being the biggest difference. My full name is Kamakshi Shirodkar, but so many people had trouble pronouncing it, I had to shorten it to Kamu. I've gotten so many different responses, from one swim coach saying Kamu as in communism, to a basketball coach totally giving up and renaming me Kay, without asking. Another way I'm different is my appearance. Yes, my hair and skin are dark, but when I was in kindergarten, a certain girl really liked to point that out for me. She used to call me a bear because my arms and legs are very hairy. Another girl said that the lines on my hands looked like they were colored in with marker. Speaking of my appearance, apparently according to teachers, I look like every other Indian girl in my school. The amount of times I've been confused for another Indian girl that I don't even slightly resemble by my own teachers is insane. Because of all this, I really wanted to fit in. I was tired of sticking out against my white peers. I never really talked about my Indian culture, and I just tried my best to make myself as much like everyone else as possible. But I realized something throughout my middle school years, and that is I don't want to change myself. I love my... Sorry.
It's very sensitive remote. Let's see.
I love my Indian culture, and it's not my problem if other people can't understand it. I'm so grateful to be part of this rich culture that spans thousands of years. Yes, I'm still not the most Indian girl out there. I don't speak Hindi or Marathi. I rarely wear Indian clothes, and I don't go to the temple that often, but I can understand a bit of both languages from my parents. I love shopping for Indian clothes with my mom, and I have a small Indian altar that I can pray to every day. So, although it is hard to be part of the 1% in the USA, I wouldn't trade it for anything else. The problem with this is even though now I'm fully secure in myself and not at all confused, society tries to fit people like me into boxes. Either I can be whitewashed and fully assimilate with everyone else, or I should be offended with every interaction with someone who doesn't know how to pronounce my name or can't confuse me with someone else. It's like I'm walking this tightrope between two worlds, and sometimes it gets exhausting to constantly stay balanced. It's this all or nothing mentality that our society has that gets people so confused. There's a common term to describe people like me, ABCD, American-born confused Desi. It was created by generations past because of the strict culture that Desi parents had, like bringing Indian food to school or walking around with oil in your hair. These things that some white people may frown upon can cause Indian kids to want to assimilate, and that is what causes the confusion. Luckily, my parents never did that to me, so I was free to explore my culture and figure out myself without being forced to do anything. I used to get really frustrated when people couldn't pronounce my name, but since then I've realized that it's not just a me problem. This is a whole immigrant problem. Recently, my mom showed me an interview of Saoirse Ronan, and where she shows us how to pronounce her name. It's spelled S-A-O-I-R-S-E, but it's pronounced Saoirse. The interview is actually really funny, and it made me realize that I can choose not to get mad when people say things like that to me. For example, if I went to a country where I didn't speak their native language, wouldn't I struggle to pronounce their names? So how can I blame everyone for not being able to say mine? I believe the other reason I'm so secure is because of all the representation that we have today. A few years ago, there were no Indians anywhere. Not in books, TV shows, magazines, or anything. Today, look how far we've come. Our own Vice President, Kamala Harris, is half Indian. One of the hit TV shows on Netflix, Never Have I Ever, is starring an Indian woman. Me, I'm up here today giving a talk that will be posted on YouTube for the world to see. Unfortunately, according to a Nielsen study in 2021, South Asian women such as myself only occupy 0.3% of screen time in the media. However, that is 0.3% more than what we've had in recent years. Today is not an ideal world by any means, but I'm hoping that me and my generation can fix that, so no little Indian girl will ever be confused about identity like me.